Dr. Giuliani brought home to us the most important point, maybe, of electromagnetic fields. There's a big difference, I think, between this field and the other ones we had at this conference. He said we had clear statements about the biological effects of electromagnetic fields a long time ago, and they were actually well demonstrated. And still, governments don't believe them and don't take action on them. To me, actually, I've always been really astonished that people don't realize how dangerous they are, electromagnetic fields from mobile phones and other devices, because we are told to switch our mobiles off near important machines in hospitals. If you came here by plane, you were probably told to switch your mobile off inside the airplane because you might pull the whole thing down. Our brain works on electromagnetic fields. Everybody knows that. Our heart does. So why are we not told to switch our mobile phones off near our head and near our heart? It seems so obvious to me. And this makes the field different, I think, from the other fields. I'm most active in genetically modified organisms, and I'm a little jealous of how easy it is to explain the dangers of electromagnetic fields. Think of genetically modified organisms. It's quite difficult sometimes to explain to people why they may be a risk, why they may be a danger. For electromagnetic fields, it's very much easier. I just tell them what I just told you. It's obvious to everyone. It struck me that Professor Grigoriev even used a different kind of language to the speakers about the other fields at this conference. He said the international standards on electromagnetic fields cannot guarantee the safe and healthy development of the population. That's quite a different kind of language than we use for the other fields. We talk about the specific dangers that you may be confronted with when you're confronted with the actual nanoparticles or the actual genetically modified organisms. And in Europe, we don't eat many genetically modified organisms. We're not always exposed to them. But electromagnetic fields are a totally different thing. So my most important question, actually, to all of you is, why is it so difficult to convince governments of the risks of electromagnetic fields? It seems so obvious, so much more obvious than with GMOs and things.
Thank you.
Today I presented this conference and hear about it. Yeah, is this pay the industry with not free experiments as a rule? No, because only some experiments carried out without financial support from industry. The same in our country, the same in your country and other country. About this today speak very many reporters invited about this. No?
Are you saying there's not enough money for independent research?
No, there's an economic interest in hiding.
No, it's very high. It's very big money. Milligan, the chief of this money, 3 times came me for ask me to change our standards.
Okay.
So I answer. Give me money. Yes, of course. 3 times. Give me money. I carried out experiments. After that, I changed our standards. Our standard 10 microwatts per centimeter. In your standards, 100 microwatt per centimeters. So, sorry.
Not in my standard.
You've also heard about the Monsantos and Syngentas and their GM seeds. So are you then saying that the economic interests of the telecommunication industry are so much larger than those of the GM seed industry, because it seems so much more difficult to convince people of the dangers of electromagnetic fields, even though it should be so easy?
I am member of 50 years, the member of the advisory committee WHO. Every year I meet with some scientists, but I cannot change the situation. It's clear situation. I don't understand why you don't understand you.
I do. But it remains quite striking. Mercy.
Yeah, the same situation here.
For me, I mean, up to now, I find this discussion very fascinating, because here you come and tell us the science is there, it's been known for a long time, and we all seem to go towards the same, you know, and then we had the chemical session where we also had the same, that the science is there, we know the facts, but nothing is being done. But I'm just wondering if we think the problem is the money and the industry, but maybe the problem is much deeper. It's something to do with some belief systems. You know, it's like dealing with a Muslim and a Christian and trying to tell a Muslim to see things the way a Christian does and vice versa. And you're really dealing with two, you know, what you call it? Paradoxes. Yeah, because the science is there. You know, it's not that the science is not there. Is it really money? And maybe it's much deeper. I'm just wondering, because you have the science and you give the example that we're actually exposing children, you know, the future generation for the first time. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling.
I will react on that. I think it's not only the industry and not only the scientists. It's going for a huge amount of money, billions. You've seen the books. I presented it, and if you read that, you can big influence from industry, but there's also the paradigm, and if you believe it's impossible, it's very difficult also for scientists to see another way. So there is a paradigm. It's like a black screen in the middle. It is not possible, so it's not there, and then we have the believers and the non-believers, and it's for many years already, and still we see people around all over the world who become sick and who have problems, and we cannot exactly explain it. We only see it's happening. Also, the WHO, they say, well, yes, there are between 3 and 5% of the people globally who have problems with electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, but I'm just being naive now. Maybe I'm just wondering if we are concentrated too much on focusing. It's money, it's industry. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's just I'm wondering. Assuming that industry, by the end of the day, the CEO, he's a father to a daughter or a son. Let's say the CEO of Safaricom or Vodafone, for that matter, whatever these companies that are making these mobile phones. And these scientists, by the end of the day, they are individual. They are son and daughter and father. But at the end of the day, they also get ill. So maybe it's not about money. The problem is much deeper.
Mm-hmm. It might well be.
Yes.
I want to get to another question.
Perhaps I may answer what you are trying to know. The problem is very deep, because one of the problems, I have to say before, perhaps, that ER has qualified radio frequency electromagnetic fields in May 2011 as possible human cancerogen, classified 2B. So this is achieved, if you want, yeah? And the international reinsurance companies already in '96 refused to cover possible EMF health risks. So this is acknowledged from insurance companies, which just make money insuring, covering risks. And they do not want to have this money because they have learned from asbestos. Okay? So this is the first step. And then for scientists, it became more and more difficult to get funds for research when they did not see that there is no problem. But these scientists got together in '98 in Vienna at a conference, with a press conference then, and one of the scientists in the TV said then, after having stated in the press conference how dangerous it is, in the TV, he said, I don't know if it's more dangerous to phone 10 minutes with the mobile on your head or to drink 2 glasses of beer. So he relativated all this. So the problem are also the scientists who believe that there is a problem, because ICEMS does nothing in reality. And we have from our medical chamber a poster with the precautionary rules how to use a mobile phone. And it's translated in all the languages you want, and the medical chamber of Austria distributed this. And now, and this is the good news, in Brescia, in Italy, there was a court case from a manager, the court case of Brescia, of a manager who used mobile phone in his work for more than 10 years and for the whole day, more or less. Yeah? And he is 80% invalid due to a brain tumor. And INAIL, the institute in which Dr. Giuliani is working now, was condemned to pay a pension due to invalidity. But INAIL, the institute where Dr. Giuliani is working, denied that and went in the last court possibility, and this is still pending, okay? But in Austria, as we are aware of that whole problem, because Bio Initiative in 2007 made a report which was cited by Alex, and at the conference in Brussels at the European Union, Professor Kundi presented the results and so on and so on. But the summary was done by Cindy Sage, which is a consulting, which is making money consulting the people how to reduce their EMF exposure and proposing also shielding. So he could not deliver the Declaration of Independence requested by the European DG Sanco and so on. And so Bio Initiative was not accepted to be involved in the EU decisions. So it's a problem also of the scientists. No? But being aware of that, in Austria, the Medicals for Environment, the Austrian Workers' Compensation Board, the Federal Labor Chamber, the Austrian Medical Chamber, the Vienna Environmental Advocacy, and the Austrian Economic Chamber's business section get together and made a guideline for the application of the precautionary principle for installation, operation, modification and enlargement of base stations, because the people are justified from base stations, not from the mobile phone, because everybody is accepting the risk from the mobile phone, nobody is interested to know, but everybody is claiming, protect me from the base station. I agree that the base station is a 24-hour everyday exposure, but is lower than the exposure on the head. And the recommendation, and was not done by ICEMS, was not done by ICEMS, was not done by ICEMS neither, to use the Viva Voce and the earpieces and not to put the phone on your head. ICEMS is Institute for Worker Protection. ICEMS, Giuliani, nothing has been done. Okay? You should be also aware of that. So we have now this guideline, and it will be translated in English too, and published widely. And so we hope, because in this guideline is stated what the WHO is saying since years in different fact sheets, to involve the people very early in the siting process of a base station.
Can I ask you how many more remarks you have? Because we're nearing 8 o'clock and I'd like to give the word to somebody else as well.
Sentence, the final one, and recommended limit value is 1 milliwatt per square meter. Is stated in 2000 in the Conference of Salzburg. So we agreed to this, but now with a great support of chambers, economic and so on.
Thank you very much for all this information. Andras.
I would just like to mention that although there are great similarities, it's apparent, between or among all these areas, here the public participation, the individual participation,
Speak up.
The participation of the individual is much more present than in other issues. I mean, we want to have the freedom of choice of pesticides or GMOs or whatever. Here, at least for the piece, we do have the freedom of choice. And to me, it's in that respect is more similar to transportation. We do know all the risks of driving a car, including air pollution, including accidents and so on. It's a very dangerous operation, transportation. Still, we accept it every day because it's convenient, because we like it, because, I mean, for selfish reasons.
But then you're referring only to mobile phones, not to the base stations.
Yes, only the mobile phones. In the mobile phones, we make a choice.
Кстати, вот здесь я смотрю, в Испании очень мало пользуются.
And that's a great difference to me, for example, compared to the GMO food.
Okay, thank you.
But base station is not
choice.
I would like to ask once more if there's anybody else wanted to say anything. Alex?
Yeah. Mobile phones is not the biggest issue in Europe. That's true. The biggest issue over here for the people is the base stations. But in the United States, it's different. Over there, it is only mobile phones who are the problem, and not the base station. So it's a little bit from what are they writing and what's happening. That's one piece. The second is we don't have only the mobile phones, but we have the Wi-Fi, we have the DEC phones, and a lot of other stuff. Baby phones. When I heard now for the child over there, and it is accumulating. It is all these electromagnetic fields are coming more, and every year we get more fields. Every year we see the children growing up. If they are 4 or 5 years old, they have a mobile phone, they have Wi-Fi, they have a television in the room, and these children. There is the biggest problem. It's like what Yury researched, what's becoming from them. My first mobile phone, I was about 45 years. But now they have a mobile phone if they are 5 years. So that's a big difference. And is the research for children on Wi-Fi? No, there's nothing. There's totally nothing. There's no research on that front. And the research will start. But something is happening, and the biological systems are totally wrong, then it's too late. So we're all warning the precautionary principle. We don't know exactly what is happening, but let us be clever and to try it so far away as possible, because we can't without the telecommunication. It's not doable anymore. But let's be clever with it. And I think that is the best. Why, for instance, you shoot your Wi-Fi on 24 hours? Your television is also not on for 24 hours. If you don't use it, put it out. Save with a mobile and all that stuff. That's it.